Andrew McGahan with SevereMMA, and I'm standing alongside John Kavanagh here in SBG Long Mile Road. John, your Twitter has been a hotbed of secret information the last couple of days. If you can give us some clues, I'm going to ask you, who's the UFC commentator that is going to be at EFN?
First off, how come you dress like this when you're meeting me? When you're meeting Connor, it's a shirt and tie, and you're meeting me, it's casual.
Well, you said there you're just...
Although I look pretty casual as well.
Yeah, well, it's a casual thing. And I'm just out of bed the same as you.
I've been up since 6 out running and formulating classes. UFC commentator, yes, I'll tell you who that is. It's what we're calling Joe Roganoff in the gym. It's Artem Lobov. He's the commentator for Eurasia on Setanta. He started last week, and he's the colour commentator like Joe Rogan. He's Russian, so we call him Joe Roganoff.
Anytime I've spoke to Artem, he seems to be very funny and very over the top in the way he describes things. Are you hoping for some of that in the broadcast?
Yeah, I just want him to be himself. He's very opinionated about everything, so I'll be kind of curious to see what angle he takes. I was trying to get a hold of, I think he started last week, commentated on that UFC, and I was trying to get a hold of that and get someone to translate it just to hear. I presume he was just challenging every fighter at the end of it, but I'll be curious to see what kind of style of commentating he has.
How have you noticed the feedback about the event? Is there a lot of people messaging you on Twitter or Facebook? Is it exceeding your expectations?
Well, to get the Icelandic TV deal was great. I wasn't really sure how that was going to go, and that's all secured now. And I have all the Icelandic team matched up, so I'm very excited about that. We're into that, like with promoting a show, it's always a week out that the tickets really shift. That's just the type of crowd that go to MMA shows. So we're 2.5 weeks out, and as far as I'm aware, about half of the tickets are gone, maybe more. Especially now with Johnny Dargan as the main event. It's only a 500-seater, and he sold 100. So it'll give you an idea. But yeah, no, the momentum is really starting to pick up now, and I'm looking forward to a good night.
After the Ring of Truth days, it seemed like you weren't going to get back into promoting. Was it unable to get fights for some of your fighters that swayed your decision to go back into promoting?
That certainly is a part. I have now over 25 guys actively fighting, and any of the promoters in Ireland or the UK know I'm just always hounding them. That's all I seem to be doing is like, can you match this guy? Can you match this guy? Can you match this guy? It was partly that, and it was almost partly by accident. I just went to look at a venue, I tweeted it and saying, hey, what do you think Cage of Truth would look like in here? It's kind of half a joke, and it turns out now I'm not in that venue, but the momentum got really start getting behind it, and a lot of people wanted to be involved and help out, and here we are now 2.5 weeks out, and I think it's going to be a good show. It's in a venue that's never had a MMA show before. I didn't want to do it in a Dublin venue that had already been used, and the Red Cow were always dead against MMA. But when we went up and we were able to educate them on it, and now it's just another venue that's positive about MMA. So,
when it comes to, sorry, you put another thing on Twitter as well the other day about a couple of announcements, secret announcements in the next couple of days.
What's up, Rowdy?
Secret announcements, etc. Is there anything else that you can reveal?
Yeah, okay, I'll give you another exclusive, but this is definitely the last one I can give. I've just agreed a lease on a new gym. It'll be signed in the next day or two. So I'm moving onwards and upwards. This will be my 8th move in about 10 years. I'm currently in, there's around about 1,500 square foot on the ground floor here. I'm moving to 8,500 square foot, one street over on the Nace Road. It's going to be on the Lewis line, bus stop outside Concord Industrial Estate. It's a huge all glass front facility. 80,000 people go up and down that road every day. It's going to have 2 very big training areas, a full-size octagon, strength and conditioning area, full-time physio, smoothie bar, coffee bar. It's going to be pretty serious. I'm going on the kind of model you would see on the West Coast in the States, like the Extreme Coutures, the Tap Out gyms, something along those lines, and I think it's going to be a serious boost to the level of MMA coaching, and it's also going to be open like full time. So it's going to be a real boost for some kid that's just want to get into MMA to start now. Going to be able to get all the best training under one house, you know, and like I say, with post fight drinks and physiotherapy and strength and conditioning, everything under the one roof. And yes, I'm very excited about that.
You said to me once before that a guy who comes in here and loses 20 pounds and gets himself fitter and feeling better about himself is just as rewarding to you as a fighter who's fighting and making his debut and winning. What about moving to a facility like this? Where does that stack up?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's going to be, right now I have almost everybody in my gym competes in something, whether it's jiu-jitsu or kickboxing or MMA. And with the new facility, we're going to have a lot of classes as well for kind of MMA fitness style classes, where we're going to be able to encourage people to come in that maybe not necessarily want to compete in anything, but just want to use the type of training we have to get in better shape, because everybody at this stage is bored of going to a standard gym, getting on a treadmill for 20 minutes and running. It's a complete waste of time. Whereas in there, we want to try and help them change their lifestyle, try and educate them on the kind of sort of diets that my fighters follow, the kind of cardio training routines that they do, get them in shape using a much more fun system, mixed martial arts, and yeah, carry on changing lives.
Is there going to be social media lessons for some of the fighters? I know there's been a couple of funny things bandled about on Twitter in the last couple of days.
Example?
Philip Mulpeter yesterday got into a couple of altercations. Do you think that can affect a fighter further down the line in terms of sponsors, or will it garner him more fans?
Well, you know, it's funny. I'm constantly getting advice on what Conor should and shouldn't be saying. And he's got over 50,000 Twitter followers. He's got sponsorship deals that guys that are fighting for titles in the UFC, I've heard back, can't get. So if he's doing something wrong, well, then I hope all my fighters do just as wrong. I don't really follow any of that, and I don't really pay attention to it. As long as the guys are enjoying it, that's all I care about. If I thought one of my fighters was getting emotionally involved and then it would affect their performance, then I pull them aside and take them away from it. But I know the guys that are doing it, it's just a bit of fun for them. It's a bit of crack, a bit of wind up, and I don't think they take it serious. And I don't think the other guys take it all that serious either. It is what it is. If we're in the fight game, if you can't handle a little bit of ribbon like that, I don't think it's for you.
I was reading something on the bus up. You retweeted it yesterday about the science behind haters. With your recent explosion, has your block button on Twitter been more active in the last couple of weeks? Because you said you don't like negative things in your life, you cut it out.
Yeah, you know, I really haven't had to do that. The amount of positive feedback I've gotten from even Conor's last fight and the success of the gym and from mostly from other MMA coaches and stuff like that. I've got a great relationship with 9 out of every 10 MMA coaches in this country. I've been around a long time. A lot of them have as well. Of course, you're going to have clashes of personality and people you don't get on with. There's nobody that works in any job that doesn't have some people that you don't get on with. But for the most part, only positive. It's been great, and you know I'm always saying back to them, like Neil Seary's doing so well, and Paul Redmond and you know, Norman Park and all those guys, and I've got good relationship with all those coaches, and we're always helping each other back and forward, and yeah, so I just want to keep that going.
Just a couple of quick fire things. You went over to Boston there with Conor. A lot of the times when coaches and fighters go over to America for the first time, there's no buzz about them. The fact that you fought, Conor fought in Sweden, and everyone knew John Kavanagh because it was the European media that was there and European circuit. But now everyone knew you went over to America. What was that feeling like, that people knew you right off the bat and knew Conor and couldn't wait to see him?
Yeah, like I said, it was kind of like Sweden. We expected it. And saying that, now when we got there on Saturday, 8 days before, and we were just kind of locked up in a hotel for a solid week because just making weight. You know, it's not like we were every evening going downtown to Boston, hanging out and meeting people and stuff like that. It wasn't like that. It was just, you know, he's on a very strict calorie control diet, and we're just kind of hanging out in a hotel room, getting on each other's nerves sometime, and you know, just getting ready for weigh-ins on Friday. It was nice when the weigh-ins were over and able to kind of hang out a bit then. And but no, I wasn't. We were kind of prepared for that level of media attention. I knew he was going to get it. Like, since we came home from Sweden, an average day will be turning down 3 or 4 interviews. That's an average day.
With Cahill and Chris going over for the Ultimate Fighter trials, both fighting a weight above their usual divisions, someone in America said to us that it's a risky move for Cahill, because if he gets into the UFC through that, he could be stuck in a bad contract. Or do you think he just wants to get in no matter what weight division, he doesn't care?
Well, I mean, he'll compete. If he was to get into the UFC, he would compete at 170. That's his weight class. But the 170 division is probably the most stacked right now, and this was just a way to get in. I mean, Cottle right now I think is about 92 kilos, so he's actually still going to be cutting weight to become a middleweight. But yeah, I mean, best case scenario, he does very well and he gets offered a contract, we will go in at 170. But at least this way, he's in there. He's been seen by them. They really like him. He's able to make an impression. People get to kind of understand him a bit better, and you know, get him in there. And then let's say when the UFC return in about a year from now, you know, I'm aiming to have it like an old style Dublin cage contender show or something like that, where half the card is SBG. So that's the plan.
The most I think was 10 SBG fighters in one night.
I've done 9. 9 was my record. We went 8-1 that night. So maybe I can get 10 on this one.
One final thing, UFC are coming back to Manchester in October. Conor was hoping to be fit for then, but you have another fighter, Gunnar Nelson. How's he doing? He returned from injury. Is there any movement on his front?
Yeah, he's literally, for whatever complications, I mean, we both had the same surgery on our knee, and I was back a lot quicker than him. He had, I guess, some complications. But James Gallagher is over there at the moment, and I was speaking to him yesterday, and he said that Gunny's back MMA sparring now, pretty much full on, and he wants to just try, you know, a week or two of that just to make sure that everything is stable, and then it'd be a case of just getting in touch with the UFC and saying, hey, look, we're ready to go. So for sure by the end of the year. I don't know about the Manchester card, that's a little bit close, but for sure by the end of the year.
You seem set on having your Christmas in Vegas.
I like Vegas. It would be kind of fun to have I guess it's probably very hot there at Christmas, so it'd be nice to have warm weather over the winter, but we'll see.
John Kavanagh once again giving us countless exclusives. John, we always appreciate it. EFN, if people want tickets, just give us the details. Yeah,
well, you know, I support a proper Irish MMA website that actually does a bit of research and does its own articles and does its own interviews, not just some of those sites out there just copy and paste stuff from UFC.com. Yeah, so if you want tickets, you can come to any of the SBG gyms. You can go to any of the fighters that are on the card. We've got tickets in Mullen Sports on Capel Street, in WrestleMania in Stevens Green. Yeah, so get in touch, get a ticket. September 14th, the Pavilion, Red Cow. It's going to be a fun night.
John, thank you as always. Pleasure.
Thank you, Andrew McGann.